All right, this is the Coast to Coast Combat Hour. December 1st, first one of the last month of the year. Ed Carbajal and Matthew Hawkins back on our weekly new night, Wednesday nights when we record. Brought to you by AllAccessMMA.com. Make sure you check out AllAccessMMA.com for your MMA news and results. Matt, we just came off of something heavy boxing heavy boxing weekend, and then there was we talked about triad combat. We had our quips and our you know misgivings or whatever about it, but it came and went, and I don't know. I mean, I have some thoughts on it. I don't know. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I thought that they did the Metallica thing as smart as you could do it.
Yeah.
Um, Basically, little set before the main event, and then something before, a couple songs early, set before the main event, and then basically five or six long set after the pay per view of the boxing. So I thought that they did that correctly
Mm.
for the TV viewing audience. Even if you weren't a Metallica fan, you weren't necessarily, other than that 15-minute, 20-minute set before the main event, you weren't inundated with nonstop, hard rock metal music. So I thought that was done well. I enjoyed it. I thought it was different. I thought it was, it kind of went as I expected. I mean, when we talked, I didn't really expect the MMA guys to win, but when it came to the last two fights, they didn't. Although I thought Mitrione did well, and I thought he. I think even Wheelock might have had him winning on the card. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought that fight was very close. I thought he looked good, and then the Mir fight went basically as expected. I didn't expect a little thriller zombie walk at the end, but other than that, I mean, I thought Mike Perry looked okay. I thought his fight was close too. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was entertaining. I paid the $3 for a month, already canceled. So I mean, I'm not going to say that it wasn't worth $3 for. I mean, I watched the Metallica concert, so for $3, it was well worth it for me.
Yeah, I actually like the pacing of the fights. I mean, I don't like concerts mixed with my combat sports. I prefer to listen to just the walking track, but I mean, I didn't mind. I guess because it was Metallica, I didn't mind it.
Hmm.
Um, the thing with the we talked about it last week. The whole concept between Team MMA versus Team Boxing, and how that kind of came to be last minute. I saw more evidence of that at the post fight press conference, especially with Rampage being as honest about things as he was. I mean, he was the one that when you listen to what he says versus how everything came about, he said that like Mitrione only had 3 weeks to prepare, which is why he tried to finish his match early when he got that knockdown in the first round. And then the other thing was that apparently Frank Mir got injured preparing for it because of the timing of everything, which is why he didn't look right at the beginning of the fight. I don't know if you noticed the way he was. I mean, we've seen a better striking from Frank Mir in other fights. Never mind the whole. I know people tried to jump on Dan Miragliotta about that stoppage, but I thought the stoppage was good. I mean, what about you?
Yeah, at first when I watched it, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and
Mm-hmm.
then I heard Wheelock. I don't know if you listened to it, but Wheelock
Yeah,
kind of jumped in to defend Miragliotta, and
yeah,
I was about ready to go. Okay, that's ridiculous. It looked like a terrible stoppage, but then as Wheelock's explaining it, the replay
yeah.
goes, and it was probably one of the better jobs of refereeing I've ever seen. The
Mm-hmm.
way he positioned his body, because it looks like Mir's completely dazed and out of the fight, which he was, but the whole fear was that there was going to be a follow-up shot that was just going to send him to wherever. And Mergliotta, it did, you kind of lose that sense in that triangle ring there, where it
Yeah.
kind of Mir was kind of pinned in a corner, and Mergliotta put himself in a position where he didn't have to stop the fight initially because he was able to be between the two fighters. The minute that Puliev stepped forward, he's right, right when he got into somewhat striking range, Miragliotta stepped in and stopped the fight. And I,
Yeah,
I
I
thought it
just
I thought it
brought it
was
up
out,
for
yeah, for
folks to
video
see.
viewers.
Yeah, because I actually forgot that I pulled the audio out of this, and so we could look at it.
Because I thought initially, like, hey, oh man, he's down. We're gonna watch a catastrophe happen right
Hmm.
now if this guy gets a clean shot on him. And you could see Miragliotta and obviously the triangle corner there. But I just thought he did a great job. And like I said, I was initially I was about to jump in and go, "What the hell is going on? How can you not stop it?" And then I watched it, and boom, there he is. He stops it the minute Puliev gets in
Mm-hmm.
range to do anything. I mean, he wasn't even in kicking range. Basically, would have stopped. So not that he could kick, but that shows the distance for our audio listeners. I mean, he was once he got within about 6 feet, it was wave off, get in the way, and make sure
Yeah,
nothing happens to Mir. So I thought it was a good stoppage. I thought it was a great refereeing, and I thought
yeah.
Sean Wheelock was really, really good to be able to pick it up as quick as he
He was
did.
earning his money that night. That's for sure.
That's what I thought. Because initially I'm going, Sean, you're crazy. That's what kind of started thinking. And then it's like he's explaining it, and then sure enough, they show the replay, and I go, God damn, he nailed that right on the head. He saw it as it happened,
Mm-hmm.
and and I thought that also went towards your viewing perspective too, because I don't know where they were sitting on the ringside, but if he was depending on what side he was on, he would have been able to see that the referee was in a better spot, which goes to the judging and stuff that we've talked about with him in the past.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
and
don't know.
and
So
and
what did
I
you think of everything? Pretty much. I mean, what was your
overall, I didn't. I kind of liked it. I liked the pacing. I remember Frank Mir was the one talking about the 2 minute rounds and how that was going to be better, more fan friendly. And after watching a whole event with 2 minute rounds going fights going the distance, I did like that better too. Um, I don't understand. Again, I mean, I'm trying not to be a dick, but I don't understand why Ray Flores is an ingredient for a lot of combat sports things. It just seems all very forced and fake, like. And he was the one that was even afterwards at the post fight press conference because they had him moderate that too, and he was still coming at Miragliotta even after having Wheelock, who helped make these modified rules, explain it to him. And that was one thing that I was grateful that I mean we had him on the podcast literally just before all this triad stuff came out, and had we had wind of it, we could have asked him a lot of more questions about it. I mean, maybe we'll get him back one day if they do like another triad combat event. Um, like if another one happens, if they have money left over to do another one, I don't know if they got enough 299 membership signups to fund another event, even with all your efforts. But uh, I still think that I don't know, man. I just feel like it was overall I liked it. There's some concerns I had, obviously, with like I didn't like seeing Frank Mir that damaged. He wasn't at
uh
the post fight press conference. They sent him to the hospital, of course, but I don't trust that that's something that's going to happen all the time because of what we know about the Triller side of things. I mean, I know Luke Thomas already said his piece about it, like when they had the whole Holyfield Belfort thing, and he said he doesn't trust anything. I mean, we talked about the lawsuits and stuff, and I have no idea what's happening there. He seems to want to continue to beef with um Dana White and everyone else. I mean, I don't think it was on by accident. I think I said this last week too. I don't think it was by accident that it was the same night as Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos when Triller was supposed to originally have that. I feel like that was on purpose too. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they're trying too hard to be the bad boys of combat sports, or too unique, or I don't know, man. But overall, I'm not gonna lie, I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the Ray Flores thing. He just doesn't seem natural at all to me. He seems like a robotic. Um, that's who he comes off as that. And I mean, I don't know if he's knowledgeable or not. I don't know enough about the guy, but he doesn't come off well to me. I just don't. It doesn't sound like it runs smooth with the programming. And like you said, if he continued to ask questions in the post fight, that's stupid. Once it was clearly explained to him
Yeah,
and the worldwide
yeah, by the
audience
guy designated by Triller to do it. That
to do it.
even we like talked about that when he was on the podcast. How that's the position he kind of created for himself there, and they were all about it. So like, if that's the guy that's official rules guy for a Triller Fight Club, then why are you going to keep trying to turn it into a thing? I mean, I guess I just think he likes talking. I mean, hey, I'd like to get some money for talking.
Yeah, but and then as far as the Mir thing goes, I mean, obviously Mir's at the end of his run, but I
Mhm.
don't think we can compare him to the Holyfield thing exactly. I think that that's a little bit of a stretch. If Holyfield wasn't going to fight anywhere else on this planet, if Triller didn't put him in the ring, Mir would be fighting in BKFC or would be fighting in Bellator. He'd be fighting somewhere if if this organization didn't exist. And
Mhm.
like I said, the ref did a good job in his case. I think the fight was a mismatch. In almost the same level of Holyfield Belfort, but because I think you're putting a world championship level boxer against a close to finished MMA fighter.
Hmm.
That's pushing it. Obviously, Mir's there for the name value, and that's going to continue. So we're just going to have to see. But I think I just don't like criticism coming from the UFC criticizes and stuff like that. But it's like these guys are fighting here because the UFC didn't pay him enough money. Frank Mir shouldn't have to be fighting. I said this before the event. Shouldn't
Yeah.
have to be fighting. The guy put in his dues in the UFC. Fought since UFC 33. I'm sorry, 34. He doesn't need to be. He need to be doing this. This is stupid that he's being even in this position. He should be a
Hmm.
multi-millionaire, multi-time
Or
UFC
get a
champ.
commentary, like do commentary for somebody. I mean, I know he was doing it for Bellator for a little bit. He's a well-spoken guy. I mean, he's a smart guy, but when it comes
Oh,
to fighting, I know he's. I mean, and I know he's helping coach his daughter and stuff, get her ready to make her career in fighting. But um, I mean, I hope the payday was enough and the damage wasn't as too bad. Again, I mean, Rampage was the one that and he even said that Mir probably didn't want to make that known because apparently Rampage knew about his injury he didn't want to disclose. But Rampage was trying to defend because of all the last two outcomes. Obviously, even though Team MMA won 14-11 that night, it was still so like everybody. So like Pulev got a belt because he was in the main event, and then so Triller already had two belts set up to give you know uh and Rampage got a belt for the team because they won. So it just seemed like a rush. I don't like the rushed production side of it. Um, I don't know. That's shadiness to me. And then the whole team thing adding the week of because again I saw nothing in their press releases about up until they had Shannon Briggs and I mean and they keep talking about trying to have Rampage and Shannon Briggs fight and I feel like that's, I mean, maybe it'll happen in Florida, a la, Holyfield Belfort, because didn't Briggs try to compete not too long ago and wasn't able to get licensed?
I think he tested positive for steroids, but I
Oh,
might be
okay.
confusing him with somebody else. I don't think he's as old. I don't think he's in his 50s yet. He might be. I think he's in his later 40s, but I could
Hmm.
be wrong on that too. Yeah, but but I don't know. I don't like that fight because I think Rampage might get flatlined.
Mm.
That's what I don't like because these boxing guys aren't a joke. Not that Rampage is a joke by any means, but it's boxing. As much as we want to say it's neutral
Yeah.
grounds or whatever, when it all comes down to
Yeah.
it, if you're a good boxer, you win the fight. Like
Yeah.
a good boxer doesn't lose in that event just because you can grab. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and that was the thing that was actually when because his team lost, that was his biggest complaint afterwards was that that they were grabbing too much or whatever. But it's supposed to even the playing field. But from Rampage's observation, what he said at the post fight press conference was he actually was impressed with the way because he thought the MMA guys would be able to fight better from the clinch, and he found the case to be the opposite that the
Uh huh.
boxers actually handle themselves better from the clinch. And I think the best example of that was that second or third round knockout or drop that when Seals dropped Mike Perry in that fight. I know Mike Perry came back because of his output. So I mean, I don't know if the shape and the size of the ring is calculated into this whole even playing field thing, but I don't know. For me, it just seems like there should be some sort of takedowns allowed to really even the playing field. Um, I
I
don't
don't
know.
think you can. I think you just call it dirty boxing and it is what
Yeah.
it is. I mean, I don't know. You could do takedowns, you could do like sweeps, but boxers aren't going to go do that. You're not going to get a guy like Pulev to go in there and do that. They have
Hmm.
nothing to gain by it. He can go box somewhere and make this money.
Well, he
And
did train with Blagoy Ivanov to get ready for this, which I thought was smart of him.
that's a good body type. It's a good,
Yeah.
probably definitely, a guy who obviously with the sambo has the upper body grappling and stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, the bottom line is I enjoyed it. If they do it again, I'll pay $3. I did the monthly subscription again. Anybody listening, I did the monthly subscription. I ordered it for $3, and then at the end of the show, I just canceled my subscription. I get it for another 3 weeks still because you have to pay for the whole month, but it was literally three.
Oh,
I
so
think it
you
was
get to
two nights.
watch Bone Thugs and
Oh, Bone Thugs versus was it 3 6 Mafia or something like that? Is that who it is?
yeah.
Or yeah. So whatever the hell that is. I'm assuming I don't even I don't even know. But that's the way I did
Yeah, I
it.
mean, let's be honest. We could do without Fat Joe, whoever Crime Faces is, and Eric B's.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't need to hear Fat Joe yelling Gigliotta or Gigliotta
yeah,
800 times. Uh,
I'm assuming he thought that was funny. They obviously had drinks at that table too.
yeah,
So,
that's what I was gonna say. I don't know who. Yeah, but that's all I'll say on that. But yeah, no, I thought Tumanev looked good. I think he looked better than anybody.
hmm
And that's the thing that the MMA guys won their fights without using the clinch, like you were saying. Rampage said Tumanov outboxed his opponent. Alexa Kulp knocked out her opponent. That was a
hmm
mismatch. Quick blitz finish in about a minute. Campos, same kind of thing. Used boxing, and then Mike Perry fight was even. Some could argue even lost that fight, and that would have changed the scoring output. I think it would have meant
yeah,
it was a tie, or I don't know how it would have worked out, but
Briggs admitted at the end of the press conference that he was being a sore loser with all his complaints, but he still said, and I kind of agree with him, like because of the minute skill. I mean, the because they call boxing sweet science for a reason. And a lot of guys, if you train your career feeling out opponents and you have 10, 8, 10, 11 rounds to feel someone out, to like, actually calculate that into your plan versus a smaller cutoff space where MMA fighters all look to blitz you and like Mike Perry's tactic was cause he actually said it afterward, because Seals had the height and reach advantage. He actually said he fights long, so I'm gonna put pressure on him. And we saw that he did that, especially when he got hurt. So I just feel like, yeah, man, I think I think they need to look at those rules a little bit more. But I think I'd watch another one though. I definitely would watch another Triad Combat.
I would. And like I said, it could do without the music.
Yeah, and please no
Because
more Fat
it's not
Joe.
going to
And,
get better than Metallica.
I
We're
don't
just
even
gonna.
know who Crime Faces is. I mean, I
I
hate to. Maybe I'm old. You know.
I have no idea. I have no idea. So, anyways, we'll move on to more of the regular schedule that we're used to.
Yeah, thank God.
With this Friday, a big return by
Oh boy,
the
yeah.
actual champ of Bellator's bantamweight division, Kyoji Horiguchi, the Rising champ. Uh, Pound for pound, in my opinion, easily pound for pound top 10 fighter in the world. Makes his return to Bellator, record 29-3. Uh, one of those to Demetrius Johnson, one of those already avenged, and one of them to a fighter that was 14-1, who he fought early in his career at the time. So just one of the greats. Sergio Pettis, coming off of his dominating win over Archuleta, wins over Mix. Uh, the bantamweight champion at the time, but even he's admitted that this is that he's holding it right now until Friday
hmm
night when we crown the actual champion. So, I mean, a huge. This is it. This is one of those Bellator fights that if I had my way, we would be seeing it advertised on the big sports networks. And
hmm
I'm not saying every Bellator card should be hyped because they shouldn't be. Some of them, in fact, should be probably
So I'm
talked
wearing the
down
sweater
on.
again.
There you go. But this is one of those fights that the MMA world should be watching. If there's one, I mean, when you got a legend like Aldo fighting the next day, I'm not going to say that this is
hmm
the one fight you should watch. But as far as you know, in my opinion, if I was going to watch one fight this weekend, it would be Sergio Pettis, Kyoji Horiguchi. Um, I mean, I don't know if you want to start earlier in the card, but we can stick with this one. I don't know how you see it going. I want to lean heavily Horiguchi, but I tend to always underestimate Pettis.
Yeah.
Um, so
I
it makes it harder pick than 6 months ago. A year
hmm
ago, I would have said Horiguchi, no questions asked. This one, I go with lean Horiguchi, but more of like a 60-40 kind of thing, where if he
Well,
doesn't
it's funny you
show.
say that because it looks like that's how folks are.
There you go.
Yeah.
58-42 according to the fans. So, yeah, I mean, that's just the way I kind of see it. I don't, I think, and it's not because Horiguchi's declined in any sense. To me, it's just the great performance that Pettis had in his last bout to get the title, and just how he seemed to have risen to the occasion once he got to Bellator, and put on some really good performances and beat some really good opponents. So,
And he was,
I,
and he held 2 titles when he did that. Like he won the Bellator title, he won the Rising title. So if we can get back to that, I feel like this is me being stupid or whatever you want to call it, but I feel like because of how, if you remember his injury when he had to relinquish both titles, it was just before COVID-19 started. So I feel like if he comes back and he wins on Friday and he goes back to Japan and starts throwing down there, I mean he's already picked up a win since he's returned at the beginning of, or last New Year's Eve at Rising 26 when he avenged the loss that he got, that non-title loss. Um, so I feel like this is like the fight gods letting us know we're coming back, and you know what I mean. As far as the matchup, um, I don't disagree with these odds. I'm leaning Horiguchi, but I mean, we, like you said, we've seen since he's come to Bellator. I feel like just something that has fired off in Sergio Pettis that makes him more dangerous than he ever was. You know, when he was at the UFC. He even said today during the media day that he's training differently. Like he doesn't train with his brother anymore because you do your thing, I'm going to do my thing, and we'll get it. We'll do our thing when we're together. And I just feel like that's got a lot to do with this Sergio Pettis that we're seeing at Bellator. Like, you know, when he was at the UFC, he was Anthony Pettis' brother, but at Bellator, he's Sergio Pettis, the bantamweight champion. You know what I mean?
that's actually pretty well said. I didn't think of it that way, but it's kind of the truth. He
Mm-hmm.
got away from the shadow of his older brother. Now, with that said, as soon as I started thinking about Ryzen, I thought about how much like that would the rule set there seems like it would fit the at least definitely definitely the other his brother Pettis,
Yeah.
Anthony, soccer kicks and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
instantly I thought, man, it would be nice to see him. Because he didn't really successful in PFL. I don't know if he's planning on making another run there or how that's going to work. But like nice to see him step away from, like you said, his brother's shadow. And I, man, I hate to get too hyped for these fights because I always feel like they can't live up to this fantasy expectation I have in my head of like the greatest fights, a montage of like the greatest 10 fights ever happening. But I feel like this has potential to be great. I think it's going to be technical. I don't think it's going to be like a wild brawl. Although Horiguchi can come at you, I think Pettis has the ability or the ring generalship um, to be able to keep this fight at least somewhat of a boxing MMA
Mm.
boxing kickboxing match. So I think it's going to have to be Horiguchi landing bigger shots, heavier
Yeah.
punches. I think they probably land about the same output, but I think that Horiguchi just has a little bit more pop in his punches, whereas Pettis will have to be, really sharp, and Horiguchi might have to be off his game a little bit to be getting caught with a bunch of jabs and a bunch of quick straight punches, which
Mm-hmm.
which I think is the way Pettis's way to victory is to come out jabbing and catch him and
Yeah.
just stick to the game plan for 5 rounds.
Yeah. Like play a longer game with him. I agree
That's
with that.
That's the way I see it, because I think
Yeah.
if we do get into a brawl, I think Horiguchi could land that big haymaker, which at least in Rising with the ring, when he gets people kind of in corners, he's not hesitant about going after them. So it's different in the circular with the Bellator cage, but
Yeah.
you know. I love the fight, and I'm glad to see Horiguchi back.
Yeah. Me too. And there's a lot of good fights. Like this fight's actually pretty good too, with Emmanuel Sanchez and Jeremy Kennedy. Um, there's I wanted to try to. I mean, obviously my schedule got thrown off. The prelims has my boy Vinicius De Jesus also back on. This is his first fight back with Bellator since Jesus, what, like 2015, 2016. He stepped away. He got the CES welterweight title, and then he went off to do other things. He fought in LFA, fought CES, and now he's back here. Hopefully he picks up a win to get him back on track. Because I think he lost the LFA fight too. But I mean, the guy's always training. He's a monster. Taller than I am, 170 pound. He picked me up like I was a baby. Cracked my back last time I saw him. So he's he's a big dude. For 170. But that's a fight I'm looking forward to on the prelims. You got Spike Carlisle and Dan Moret.
The Carlisle one's interesting. I just,
Yeah.
he's having a quick, not fairly quick turnaround. About 6 weeks ago, he won the main event at Cage Warriors San Diego here,
Mm-hmm.
in a big win over JJ Ambrose. So interesting to see how that fight got him. Seems to have gotten him a fight within 6-7 weeks. Against a good opponent on a good Bellator card. So good for Spike Carlisle as he works his way back up.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find. Go back to where are we going here? Back to the main card. Because we didn't really look at the rest of it.
Josh Hill, Jared Scoggins is
Yeah.
interesting. Scoggins has had several fights canceled since he signed with Bellator. Really did well in the South Carolina scene out there with Doc Lucas. And Josh Hill's been around for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
Veteran of the game. I do think Josh Hill, I do favor him in this fight. But I mean, Scoggins, obviously with his brother too, got quite the fighting family. So
Yeah. Plus, it's the bantamweight division, that's a Shark Tank over at Bellator.
yeah, I mean, I lean Josh Hill in this fight, but I think that has potential fight of the night written on it for nonstop action.
Yeah. What do you think of these middleweights? I mean, I feel like we don't see enough middleweight action over at Bellator.
No, there's really not. You think about it, Musashi gets forgotten about now,
Mm-hmm.
by at least by me. But yeah, no, Emblin's interesting. He's 6-0 or 5-0 in Bellator. So he's and Huck Buddy's making his Bellator debut. A 9-0 prospect, 6'3". He's got good size for a middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
Both these guys do 6'3", 6'2". You gotta be a minimum, I would say 6'2" to be, able to hang with the bigger middleweights, for the body type. But I don't know, 9-0. Like I said, 5-0 in Bellator. So, I
Yeah.
got to think that this is probably one of those fights where the people behind the scenes are rooting for Eblin to pick up the win here, go to 10-0, and
Yeah.
be one of those guys, because obviously Bellator signs a lot of these guys early when they're young, and when you get guys like AJ McKee who are when you're able to go, hey, look, we signed this guy when he's 3-0, and now he's like
Yeah.
10-0 or 11-0, all in Bellator, against not necessarily the best competition as they work their way up, but I think Bellator does a good job. If you're going to sign guys who have only had 2, 3, 4 fights, don't there's no reason to rush him. I mean, this is the guy's first main card fight. There was no just like they did with McKee. What was it, 17
Yeah.
fights
Yeah.
before the title fight? So
And again, I mean, I know we talked about this before too. I mean, that's people like to use Bellator as the retirement home for the UFC or whatever the hell jokes they like to make. But I mean, we just went through a whole bunch of examples again of young talent that they bring in and build. So, and then we got Saturday night, as the UFC stands like to say, Jose Aldo fight week card, all on ESPN, which I like.
wow.
Yeah, they haven't done that in a while.
We just need Dana White to get COVID, and we can finally get an ESPN card, huh? I
Yeah,
mean,
it looks like it,
wow,
right?
wow.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a joke. Hopefully, Dana White and his family obviously get
Oh yeah, I
better.
mean, if you read the report, oh wait a second, is the main card ESPN Plus? I thought it was ESPN.
Tapology has it as ESPN,
All right, so
but
maybe
it might be on both. It might be simulcast on
I
both.
know because the prelims they have the double symbol. I hope it's on both. Well, I guess we'll find out on Saturday. Or when I check my DVR. But I mean, I don't know, man. Let me bring up the main event. It's funny because this is a 135-pound main event. Bellator's got their 135-pound main event. Except theirs has a title on the line, and this is Jose Aldo that always worries me these days when he fights versus the guy ranked just above him in Rob Font. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great fight. Um,
Yeah.
it really is. I mean, Aldo had his tough run when he first dropped down. You know, he lost to Volkanovski and then he lost to Marias, close fight. And then he lost to Jan. But since then, wins over Vera, which is proving to be a good win. Maybe not a great win, but a good win. And Pedro Munoz, which I would say is a great win. Um, but then you look right across the cage at Font, and
Hmm.
you got a guy who's on a long now, solid win streak. Starting with the win over Sergio Pettis, who we just talked about, the Bellator champ. So
Hmm.
he's got that in his pocketbook. It was 6 years ago, but he's got that. He's also got wins over Ricky Simon, Marlon Moraes, and Cody Garbrandt, all consecutive leading to this fight. I mean, I with Aldo, you keep going. Is this the time he passes the torch? But then you realize that Aldo's like 32 years old. We're not talking about a guy
Hmm.
who's 38, 40. Who's really age wise is being forced to retire. I mean, in theory, Aldo could fight for another 10 years, and he
Yeah.
and he would still be young, kind of in the world of MMA fighting,
Yeah.
which where we're heading, which is weird because it seems like he's been around since the SEG days,
Hmm.
but
Yeah. There's
uh,
there's usually not a movie out about a fighter's life when they're still fighting. There's there's
no,
a
and
there's a
they're
Brazilian
like,
there's a movie about him. Like,
and they're 10 years younger than I am.
hmm.
Like, that's yeah, the world's flipped, but I so with that said, it's hard for me to pick against Aldo. Like he's one of my it's how do you pick against the guy? He always seems to step up. Obviously I don't think he's on Peter Yan's level, but I don't think
Yeah.
anybody is. um and the fight with Marias was a split decision, which a lot of people thought he won. I was at it. I think it
Hmm.
was UFC 245, a couple Decembers back. But I I gotta go with Jose Aldo. I mean, I think Font can win. I guess he could really beat him up, but I feel like Aldo, until see just devastation that's not by a guy that's the champ. I gotta stick with Aldo. I think it's gonna be a hell of a fight, though.
And they
you
have
know
Aldo as the underdog with
Slight underdog. It's
yeah.
just yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with the odds. I
Hmm.
think if I was gonna bet money, I probably would lean towards Font, but just with my heart, and then me going, I've it's just it can't be the time yet. Is it gonna be the
Yeah.
time? And I
And
still think Aldo's got something in the tank, especially with the move down to 135. He seems to have handled that well and healthy from the
yeah.
start. When it's weird because he had trouble at times looking at 145. There was times he
Yeah.
looked like he was bloated, or not bloated, but Skeletor or
Yeah.
something.
I mean, my thing with being hesitant on picking him, it's it's because I mean we've seen the Jose Aldo of late have issues. I don't want to say fatigue or whatever, or maybe he just doesn't wear damage as well as he used to. When you look at the more recent losses that he's had, so that's why I kind of agree with these odds too. Um, it'd be nice for him to win. Um, so I mean that's I'll leave it at that. I don't want to make a pick. I feel like I don't know. I feel like Rob Font. I think if the fight goes longer, it might favor Rob Font. So I know. I mean, I know we didn't really look at this whole card because we were focused on Bellator with that being their last one and it's having the title fight on it. But there's a lot of talking about putting legends on cards. I mean, you got Clay Guida on this card against Leandro Santos. I
Good
know
fight.
Lynch picked up a nice interview with Rafael Fiziev for this event over at MMAnews.com.
That's
Um,
the fight right there. I mean, that's that. I want to say that because Aldo and Font's got
mhm,
violence written all over it too. But this
mhm.
fight has, barroom brawl, blood stained mat written all over it. Um, so I mean, I don't even. I can't even really pick this fight. You got two guys.
Mm.
I don't know, what are the odds show on it? To me, it's a coin
Some
flip.
I think it's Fiziev's the favorite,
But I mean,
one
minus
twenty five.
125 plus
Yeah,
105 is basically a coin flip. I mean, very little favorite. So
yeah,
great fight. Really, really good fight. I mean, I, I don't know. I am not going to complain. We've complained a million times about maybe this isn't a co-main event in my mind, but I don't know what a co-main event is anymore. Clay Guida, like you said, Jimmy Crute, nice to see him coming back after the Michael Chandler ankle issue.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
That
forgot
he
about
had,
that.
yeah, that he had
Yeah,
it. What was it, 261, I believe, the first one back when I was in.
it was like 260, 261. Yeah, the one in
Yeah,
Jacksonville, right?
on Jacksonville, yeah, the
Yeah.
first fan return event, and that's the same event that Jamal Hill had his elbow dislocated. So these two guys, these two guys led me up to Weidman's leg break. So the
Oh God. Hopefully, there's no more.
no, no, but this is flashback city. These were like the appetizers to the leg break. We had
Oh my
a a,
God.
a limp ankle, and then we had a dislocated arm. Uh, good fight, good fight. I'll go with Jimmy Crute. Anybody who tries to fight,
After your legs bent.
Hill didn't tap with his arm flapping around either. But I think Crute is the better fighter of the two, so I'm going to lean
Yeah,
on him.
Hill went out partying afterwards because apparently it was just dislocated and he popped it back.
Yep, seems
So,
like a good dude. And
oh my God, if it pops, usually when that happens once, it can happen again. If it happens again during this fight, I'm gonna throw my TV out the window.
Oh,
Because
jeez.
that stuff, I'm the same way. As much as we watch the sport and I play with joint manipulation enough on my week during my regular week, I still cringe at that stuff. I'm not. No, thank you. No, no, thank you. Um, yeah, and I mean, where's the prelims? Oh, Maki Pitolo, Coconut Bombs is on this. He's the underdog against this guy. I don't know. I like Maki Pitolo, so I always kind of root for him on the prelims. But it should be
Manatape
and Mallory
returns.
Martin versus Cheyenne. Used to be Cheyenne Bai. She's going Vlismus now. But Mallory Martin's another fun fight to watch. This is actually a really good card.
Yeah, a lot of action.
Yeah.
Lot of action. Mickey Gall early in the night fight, and Smolka jerking the curtain on the way out, which is, I mean, pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe the upper part of the card could, seems it's a fight night. It's not a pay per
Hmm.
view, so I got to keep changing my. But yeah, it looks like there's a lot of good prospects and a lot of good action, potentially for Saturday evening. Was this an
Yeah.
early card? Are they? What do we got with that? Does it say a start time?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's regular time. I mean, the first fight is oh, what the hell? Jesus Christ! I didn't want to do
7
this.
p.m. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like it's a 7 p.m. Eastern
This
time
thing they sucked me into this
prelim.
ESPN Plus shit.
There you go. I know how you're excited you are to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean the main card's at 10. I was trying to get. Why does it keep doing that to me? Oh, because I'm clicking the wrong thing. 7 o'clock is the first. Yeah, the prelim start. So it looks like they're getting that back to normal too. Regular air times versus this early bullshit that we were doing before the holidays. So, which I didn't mind, but too early on the Saturday for me. I'm definitely gonna be watching them on Sunday.
Yeah. No, I early ones are fun when there's like, a big boxing fight or something going on in the evening, but if there's nothing else going on, then just give me the general start time. Move it up an hour or two if you want, but we don't need to be doing any 10 a.m. start times on the
Yeah,
West Coast. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think between Friday and Saturday night, a lot of action. I think both cards are worth watching. Um, Obviously, Bellator's on Showtime. Prelims are on the their YouTube channel, and I think the Bellator app as well. Yeah, I
yeah.
look forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of action.
It's gonna be a good weekend. Yes, sir.
So I think I'll sign us out. Fans can check out the show at Combat Hour on Twitter, Coast to Coast Combat Hour on Instagram. Follow me, Matthew Hawkins, at MMA Hawk 21 on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Ed at Carbazol on Twitter, Carbeerzol on Instagram, Old Head Carb on Twitch. Ed, have a great rest of the week, man. And again, fans can always check us out at allaccessmma.com for our video podcast. Ed, have a good weekend.
You
Thanks for
too.
listening, everyone.
Peace.
Good night.